the price hike? Joining us right now from Chicago with some insight is a man who's been following the industry for almost 60 years, Phil Flynn's hero, not Oscar Robertson, the Big O. We're talking about Ariane Samuelson. He is the Big O to those in the pits, Director of Agribusiness for WGN Radio. Ariane, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Chris. It's good to be with you today on yet another volatile trading day in the market.
We talk so much about whether it's corn, whether it's wheat, even sugar and coffee, but we don't really mention the price of cattle or pork, really, for that matter, very often. Yet that has been skyrocketing as well, hasn't it?
Well, we've seen cattle and hog prices climb, and part of that is the reason that 2 or 3 years ago, both cattle and hog producers went through some very difficult times, and it took some of them out of business. It took others away from producing pork and beef, and now that catches up with us. And so when you add to that the high prices for corn and soybeans, which are primary ingredients for feed, it's going to push these prices higher. And then you've got world demand that is continuing to explode as you get more middle-class people in developing countries with money who want to buy more protein. So, as one of my friends said, it's almost the perfect storm for a strong agricultural economy, at least for the short-term future.
Ariana, I saw the deer earnings the other week through the roof. Mosaic, potash, I mean, you name it, agribusiness is really flying high right now. Are farmers doing well here in the States?
Farmers are doing much better than they were, but if you talk to them, they'll be worried about what's going to happen next year, but they're also concerned about what's happening to input costs, the cost of machinery. And when petroleum prices go up, that's a basic for fertilizer, and I think farmers and ranchers are the second biggest users of petroleum in the country after the trucking industry. So all of their inputs are going up, but yes, they are doing better than when cattle were 70 cents a pound and hogs were 30 cents a pound, and I think this is going to last. It's going to hit the supermarket meat counters between now and May. I've been predicting inflation will really come in late spring, early summer, and a lot of it will be because of oil, first of all, and then secondly, the price of food.
What about government policy? We always talk about subsidies. Sugar is one thing that comes to mind, heavily subsidized. Corn because of the ethanol. How much would it change if you had a Republican in the White House, you had a Republican House and Senate, and policies were changing? Would that really have an impact on prices?
I don't think it would,
okay,
Chris, because right now we've got prices at levels that are above any of the support levels. And contrary to what some people think, we're no longer paying farmers not to produce, but we do have that umbrella that kind of is a safety feature, a safety net if prices go lower. But I don't think government policy is really going to change this because we're a global agriculture. And when you look at the drought in Russia and the Ukraine, when you look at rains and floods in Australia, when you look at South America, all of this is having an impact on what's happening in this country. Now, this week, the Department of Agriculture at its Outlook Forum said we would increase corn and produce a record crop this year. We'd have the second biggest soybean crop, but all of that depends on weather. If we get any kind of a major weather hiccup this year, I'm not sure how high some of these grain prices could go, and that will impact the cattle and hog markets.
And the Chinese import a ton of soybeans, and you're telling us, Big O,
centers nearby, and upon checking out, the gal asked me what I was doing with so much food, and I said, there's an economic collapse coming to this country. Plan now. And she laughed. She actually thought that was funny. Here's the point. There are people out there that we can't help and don't want to help themselves. But as for the rest of us, buy storable food now. It remains cheap at this very moment in time, despite the meteoric rise in price of wheat, up 54% since June. Sugar's up 114%, and corn is up 79%, along with most other commodities, including silver. Buy food now for storage. This instant. Go tonight, tomorrow. Buy food in any amount you are able to buy it. Just as silver was cheap 1 year ago at $14.32 an ounce, food is cheap today compared to what it will cost 1 year hence, and perhaps much, much sooner.
For 30 years, eFoods Global has been perfecting the process by which we make our food reserves. We start by using only the finest sun-ripened and fresh produce grown and harvested following the Good Agricultural Practices guidelines. Not only are our ingredients GAP certified, but we carefully test them for chemical and microbial contaminants like Salmonella and E. coli before the approved ingredients are blended into our exclusive recipes following strict quality control standards established and audited by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. These ingredients are cholesterol-free and contain no trans fats, no hydrogenated oils, and no MSG. At eFoods Global, we do not freeze-dry our food because the freeze-drying process removes moisture and infuses chemicals into the food to prolong the shelf life. All of our ingredients are dehydrated only using low heat, and no chemical preservatives are ever added. Our dehydration process naturally preserves the food so that upwards of 92% of the nutritional value remains intact. These quality ingredients are then packaged in moisture-resistant, light-resistant, proprietary assurance packaging that is flushed with carbon dioxide to prevent oxidation and guarantee longer shelf life and quality before sealing the package. Finally, we date stamp the outside of the package the day we prepare the food reserves, so you know you're getting fresh food reserves. eFoods Global Reserves, when properly stored, maintain their flavor and quality for up to 25 years. Now, I know what you're thinking. These can't possibly be the reserves. But these delicious meals are exactly what you get when you prepare your eFoods Global meals. And none of these meals require more than a pot of boiling water, the contents of a package, and 10 to 20 minutes. Pretty soon, you are going to select some of these delicious meals to try for yourself for free. That's a great opportunity. Let's talk about some other opportunities eFoods Global has to offer you.